Welcome to the Old World Fanatics, your Warhammer Fantasy podcast to quench your hobby thirst for all things the Old World. I'm one of your hosts, Josh, and tonight I'm joined by Andrew. How are you going today, mate?
It's not going too bad. Bit tired
too bad?
after the big weekend, but yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah,
Really good.
yeah, pulled up okay. There's only two games today for the weekend. I feel like you'd be
it was quite
manage that okay.
Yeah, it was actually nice and relaxed. It was it wasn't the pace wasn't too full on, and it was a very relaxed atmosphere, so it was good. Very good.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, because what was it? It was about 3 hours per game, wasn't it? And you would have had a bit of a break.
Yeah, but there's like, I think there was a few people were late here and there, probably just sitting in traffic and whatnot. So yeah, they were, but we were able to go into our lunch break as well, just to finish off turns. So that made it pretty good, just to finish up time that we lost. So it wasn't like full on, sort of, dice down sort of thing. It was pretty relaxed with the timings. Yeah,
fair enough. All right. Right. Well, yeah. Let's not get too sidetracked quite yet. So we'll get into that a little bit. I'll go through the Patreon shoutouts because we have a fair few. I think we have one more than we did last week. I think I've got a slightly different list to what Gomo reads out every week because I'm just running off the website and his list seemed to have the free ones mixed in there. But I've got all the paid ones, I think, on the website, so I'll go through those. The Patreons really help. We don't expect everyone to sign up, but a couple of dollars a month, it does go to a little way to the cost of running the show and the hosting and that kind of thing. But I'll just go through them. So I think Thomas Vavasauer, I think that's a new one. I don't think I've seen that name before.
No.
And then we have so thank you, Thomas. And then we have Griff, Jess Torres, Wood Duck, Minanuum, Daniel, my cousin Rozok, Jonathan Wengler, Elliot Mitchum, Chris Turnbull, Gilsoth Draconis, the good old Gilsoth, Julian Diesel, Cameron Atkinson, Rich Nelly, William Payne, Robert J. Here we go. Sanchez McSquirts. so mature. And it's got a little icon. It's got an icon of it. It's at the end of a hose with someone's with a thumb over it, and it's like spraying water. So mature.
Is it a little Mexican dude?
I don't get the Sanchez. No, it's just a hand with the end of a hose.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh dear. Anyway, Andrew McAllister, Bobby Gherkin, Gunwich, Sean Ritchie, Todd Lloyd, and Chapstick, the old G. Thanks very much, guys. It really helps a lot to keep doing this every week, pushing out a couple of hours of content and whatever other random videos that we do as well. Shall we get on with it? Any news today? What have we done? What's been going on? So, had a bit of a pre-order thing, didn't we? That was probably the biggest thing over the.
Yeah.
No, it didn't. Did it? It was so annoying. Like, I actually didn't pay that much attention to it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I was actually really cruisy. I was like, oh, there's a pre-order this weekend. I'll put it in at some point. I don't even know what day it is. It's the Saturday or the Sunday. And then by the time I got around to looking it up, I think I looked up early on Saturday and there was no pre-orders. So I was like, it'll be later this weekend. And then it was like Sunday afternoon and I'm looking up like, everything's sold out.
And it's gone.
But apparently it all sold out in like 30 seconds anyway. Like it was ridiculous. Like a couple of minutes after 10 a.m. it was all gone. I'm sorry waiting. I would have probably got the unicorn if I could have, but I'm in no rush to get it because I'm not planning to take it. I don't think anytime soon. So it was more just it was a nice thing to have, but I'll get it at some point maybe. Did you pick up anything? No. Oh wait, didn't Gomo want us to get the casket at some point?
No, he got it.
Oh, he got it.
Oh, he did. I was going to get it for him, but he never really.
Yeah, for some reason I thought you said you got it, but I must have misremembered that.
No, he got it.
So he got it. Yeah, cool. Okay,
Yeah,
well, he can.
Never really got back to me with I don't know. I was sort of like, I thought he might have had a confirmation, like a little private message, but he never really. So I figured he was going to try and get it. Because I would have been in the middle of my gaming anyway, so it would have been pretty hard for me to try and secure it.
Yep.
But he got it. He got it. So
you're preoccupied. Hardcore gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knowing Colin has probably ordered 5, so he'll probably have some spares. That's with everything he orders.
Yeah, at least like he would want the internal sculpting of the casket for sure, and it wouldn't surprise me if he did order a second one just so that he could get it all
have them at like different angles. So it was like, I might have one open and one closed, one half open.
Closed, but you can still open that and still look at the internal. Yeah. But yeah, okay. So neither of us really got anything in the end. I would have liked to, but I didn't have I wasn't that desperate, so I guess I didn't put in the apparently the effort to do it. Because I feel like Games Workshop want us to buy miniatures, and they're making it pretty hard for us to do it. We need to be quite dedicated, apparently, to even have a pre-order done.
So weird. Like, you think everyone's always like, oh, they're these money grubbing enterprise, like this corporate devil, and then it's like, well, the problem is like, it seems like complete opposite to like what all these sort of the naysayers say about GW, because like I don't know what's going on, because it's like so much money they've lost by not being able to produce these things and get them out in big numbers. It's quite strange.
It's frustrating, and there must be an element at least of they're maybe creating the perception of scarcity and FOMO, which we're certainly starting to feel. That may only be part of it. I don't think that's entirely it. And obviously there's mismatches between production and demand, and how much they're willing to invest, and how much stock they're willing to build up in the to support this game as well. But hopefully, if it just continues to sell well in that way, that they'll steadily build up their expectations about how much they can cater for the old world scene, hopefully. Because it's odd, like I feel like, I'll buy the unicorn because I want to show my support for the old world, but it's like, I don't have the ability to do so. So
they're making it hard.
I'll buy it at some point, maybe one day.
Just want to give you my money.
I know. It's very frustrating. Anyway, so speaking of the unicorn, though, I guess we did have one article otherwise, which I don't spend too much time going through, but it is all about the unicorn, and it's all about painting the unicorn. It was nice to see some more photos of the unicorn a bit deconstructed and that type of thing.
That is,
and seeing that texture on a dress and the type of thing is actually quite pronounced, and it should be really relatively easy to paint, I think. I mean, it was interesting watching watching him deconstruct how he painted it and that type of thing, and some of the techniques he used, like undershading it with layer paints, that type of thing was kind of cool. But I think the texture on a dress will actually, any contrast with a bit of highlighting, I think that will look really nice. And I do like the fact that you can compose a nice looking mini through using cool colors on the unicorn, warm colors on the rider, and then some really contrasting colors on that staff that he's done. I really do actually quite like it. And then you've got the little shield underneath the unicorn that you can use to put some army, some of your uniform army colors from whatever other units you got.
I didn't know that was a shield.
Neither did I. I didn't see that at all. But it's mentioned later on in the article that there is a little, a bit of heraldic shield going on there, so you can actually tie it into the rest of the army a little bit, which is nice. They use a crap load of different paints, though.
That is a lot of
Let's look at this list. It's so crazy. This is way more than I would ever use, I don't know. Let's go. I usually end up with a relatively limited palette for most of my things, but that's The other interesting thing I saw at the bottom was just they were talking about, just highlighting the toughs, which I think is a good idea. I should do that more often, to be honest. Just a little bit of a pale dry brush on the tips of your tough, just to give it a bit of
that is good.
A little, just to bring up the brightness and maybe blend it in with the rest of the base, which I think is a good
extra
little
kick
there.
Yeah. That's really good.
So I'll go that. Yeah, right. So but that's otherwise. That was all the news, really. Not a huge amount going on otherwise. Or just before we'll get to Hobby Time in a minute. We'll just quickly go through the tournaments as well, because we are trying to mention these a bit more often. So because promote them. I mean, there's only a few on the Australian tournaments thing on Facebook, on the radar. That are actually
Queensland's killing it. Yeah, Queensland is killing it.
Well.
Because
they've got a massive tournament next weekend. We've barely mentioned it. Barely mentioned it really on this podcast, which I think it's because we've been distracted by Shiretown and all our other little things that we do. But it's about, is it 47 signups or 48 or something? Do you know?
It was big.
Number? It was huge. I think it was just shy of 50. I'm pretty sure. I'll get in trouble now if I don't get it right. But it's in that ballpark. I mean, you're always going to get dropouts a couple of days before and that type of thing. But it was definitely close to 50, which is really good. So that's next weekend. Because you just did Shiretown Showdown. I keep calling it Shirecon, which is very confusing. That was just you were just there just this past weekend, and then we've got Brutal Deluxe in Queensland next weekend, which we'll maybe try and look at some of the lists in the later part of this episode. Once we've gone through Hobby, and then we'll go through all your games and how Shirecon went. We might look at doing some of those lists as well. And then there's one other tournament again in Queensland in June, I think it is, called Winter is Coming. There's another list actually, and it's not the old world. It's actually a 6-head one. There's actually a new one that I'm kind of excited about as well. Just in Melbourne, it was just announced a few days ago. Called Cloak and Dagger, which is going to be the end of August.
That's a sick name.
So I might address that a little bit more in the Hobby, which will be coming up shortly anyway. But that's actually, I might as well do it now, really. That's actually one that it's just a 1 day of 3 games, and the pack it's actually been put together by Hugh Evans, the guy who actually I played him in the last game at Uprising. So he actually won Uprising, and he was so excited from it. He was like, "Oh man, I want to do more 6-heads. I want to make a 6-head tournament." So he's actually he's actually done it.
Nice.
He's actually done it. I hadn't heard anything for a couple of months, and I thought maybe just like, that was just what he said at the time. But he actually meant it.
He's done it.
And he has come up with a bit of a cool pack. Like, he's actually instituted a hidden lists thing, like the really old school 6-head, which is like original how the 6-head was designed, where you don't really know what the magic items are of your opponent until they're used, which is kind of cool. In the pack, there's like a gentleman's agreement that you're not supposed to tell other players what your opponent's list had, because otherwise it sort of ruins the whole concept. But it's really interesting because it does sort of change a little bit of the power levels of some of the magic items, because it's very different, some of these magic items, especially the one use only ones. If your opponent doesn't know you have it, then you can't play to it. You can't sort of mitigate it, and then they just burst it out. Even little things like one use only banners that you only get when you first charge or something like that. Your opponent isn't going to know to make you burn it on a chaff unit, because they don't know you've got that magic banner. So it changes things. And then I'm hoping that someone takes the old crystal ball from the Empire book, which is the one that lets you see all the hidden stuff, everything that has magic items within 12 inches you have to reveal, and fanatics you got to reveal and stuff, like an item that was always useless. Finally
finally got value.
So I'm keen to do that, actually, because it actually ties in with the end of my slow grow too. So the slow grow is going to end at the end of July. Then there's a 2K tournament a month later. So swiftly going into Hobby Time, I've actually been cracking on and just trying to knock off my color Slanesh at this point. You know, like I've only got, you know, eight or nine figures to do, and I had them in the photo last week. You know, half of them already half done. So the last couple of days, I've mostly done the last few devoted witch elf girls. I've been working on the anointed on foot, and just trying to crack on and get it all done. And it's nice to have a tournament like that to go, oh yeah, okay, I'll get all this done, so I've got it organized. I know it's quite far in advance still, but I'm also keeping in mind that Castle Assault is going to be in the same month as well, like 3 weeks beforehand.
Busy month.
And I haven't done anything for my Bretts there, and I probably got 2 Bowman units to paint for the old world tournament. I'm looking at a lot of the Brett lists, and they've often got 2 units of Knights of the Realm rather than any Knights Errant. I think and I agree, like it's because of Knight Errant, they're impetuous and they don't have countercharge. So a lot of lists are actually just dropping them and you're putting in a second unit of Realm, which I'm probably going to do as well, which means I kind of need to get cracking on putting together a second unit. Because, I have a 6th ed one, but I kind of want the same theme as I've already got, and I'd rather have a 5th ed one, so I've got to put it together a bit. And then I've got to paint all my Pegasus Knights that are on 30s by 60s or 40s by 60s, 40 by 60s. So I've got to get them painted up and the Lord on the peg. So I've got to get all that done before August. And then
which will come around quick.
We'll come around quick. When I've got that list of stuff, when I've got 4 or 5 units to get done, it's 1 unit a month, really. So that's actually I like having it, like at least I've given myself enough time, I feel like, this is the thing. I like to have a decent lead up to an event and actually work on it solidly up to that event. So hopefully I've got enough time to get what I want done. I want to, but I like to do it step by step. So I'll get all the cult stuff done. Go, yep, good, all done. I'll put it all aside, and then I can focus on the Bretts. Now the other thing I've been looking at, I haven't really been able to do anything major with it, but it's one of those ridiculous projects that maybe I'll have time to do after I've done the Bretts and Castle Assaults all wrapped up, which is this ridiculous idea that Gomo suggested last week about doing a Bretonian.
It's becoming a thing, is it?
It's just such a fun theme.
It is.
Nomadic war list that's everyone, all the orcs are wearing essentially Bretonian helmets and other stuff that they've basically scavenged from a ruined Bretonian army. Now I actually got a message from one of our listeners about this last week. Rob Wall. He's actually a guy that I met at Uprising. I remember he talked to me about he was asking for tips about how to do his 3D printing and stuff, and because he wasn't sure if he wanted to get into it, and I was sort of like, just get started. You'll find it easier than you think. It sounds overwhelming, but you just got to get, just got to get into it, and you'll work out. You'll work it out. But he messaged me about the that whole concept, and he said that because he actually had a couple of photos. I'm not sure where he got them from, or he had them saved or something like that. But it was from a concept army that someone else had done back in the day. That was like a Bretonian army, but it was orcs on boars and that type of thing. Like, so it had the same theme basically. But I think it was built to take the rules of the Brett army, so to play as a Bretts. And he just had some cool photos of just some
wacky different
some boar boys that had Bretonian helmet and that kind of thing. And then he mentioned that it was called Orctonians. That was the name of the theme. It was hilarious.
That's so good.
So that, I know, it's hilarious. But that gave me a hook then, because I'm like, Orctonian. Okay, so then I was able to Google Orctonians, because I was like, okay, this is a theme.
Josh
has
been bitten. I've been bitten.
And then, I found she might pull it up actually. I found a quite ridiculous. I might give you a second actually. Oh no, I might not be able to get it. Instagram post about Orctonian themed shaman. moment. Can I get this up? Is that working?
Yep.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So it's a boar boy, like it's a shaman on a boar, and he's wearing a big blue dress, holding a goblet. It looks absolutely ridiculous. I looked into where it got from. It looked like he put an attribution to a particular miniature website that does custom miniatures. So I think this was actually a custom build rather than an STL or a print or something I can easily access, unfortunately. But as a concept, an orc shaman wearing a damsel dress, and actually he's mounted on the boar to the side. Like, I think has he got both legs to one side, damsel style? I'll wait for that thing to turn around. Or has he got one leg on each side? Because I actually would love it if he had both. Oh no, he's got one leg each side. Oh no, no, he's got to have both legs to one side, damsel style. That would be ridiculous.
The maiden.
But yeah, I love it. So yeah, it is.
And the
boar's
got the unicorn horn, doesn't it?
It does. Oh yeah. The boar has a ridiculous unicorn horn as well. So yeah, it's
so good.
Yeah, I'm not sure really if it's a bit more like conversion that I'm normally capable of. But I think there's some potential there because I know that I potentially would be tempted to make use of the Highland miniature STLs that I have. That is, because he's got a really good set of Galia Brett themed minis. And he's got all the orcs that he's been releasing as well, and he's got boar boys and wolf riders in there and that type of thing. And I feel like if I was able to do like a STL mashup of both of those factions, I could have a lot of fun with it. So yeah, I'll I don't know. I'll see. It's a project far in the distance, but it might have some legs.
Definitely piqued Josh's interest.
It has piqued my interest for sure.
Been bitten a bit.
Yeah. It has been, but yeah, I've got stuff I need to do. I've got my homework to do before I can run off and have fun like that. But yeah, so that's most of it, I think. Oh no, and then the other thing was, I might bring this up with Gomo really when he's back in next week. The Tabletop World Kickstarter that we were talking about the other week finally got the fulfillment going, so we could put up through our orders properly and hopefully get it shipped off. The thatch roofs look really good. He has some extra little bits and pieces of the farm walls and stuff that you could add into, which was kind of fun. But yeah, it looks really good. I'm still a bit disappointed that it wasn't released in an STL form, that I could just print these things off to the scale that I like. But yeah, I remember that they were just saying that when they ran an STL last Kickstarter, they had so many questions from backers like, oh, how do I print this? Or oh, this isn't printing, and it just became a big headache to them. So that's why they oh, look, we'll just go back to printing, like just doing physical models rather than selling digital stuff, which is their prerogative. But yeah, I would have loved to have had STLs on it. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's all my hobby, actually. Did you need to get up to much hobby between last Monday and the weekend?
Just super gluing some stuff. Just doing little bits and pieces. But pretty much it's all done. Everything was all good. Everything was painted, but obviously the bases were a bit all over the shop because I had some on 25s that were flocked, and my dwarf bases weren't really that great at the best of time. Like the basing of it, like some of it was just like that sandy, like the coarse sand, model sand. Others had like flock. Others had like cork bases that you still like just texture like stone with flock around. So I had all sorts of bases going on.
Right.
So I've got it'll probably be good to rebase the whole army. And it was a little bit annoying because I probably didn't put as much effort as to what I should have if I'm rebasing with the guys that I was getting ready for the tournament. So yeah, the guys I was painting up, basically, I threw them all on 25s. But yeah, I just didn't. I just did green flock that I glued on. But I wanted to sort of have, because obviously dwarves are from the mountains, so I wanted more like stones within the flock as well. So I'll see how I go. I might go back and see if I can just glue some on, and it will look alright. But yeah.
Yeah, no, you should be able to do that. Yeah, it depends. Depends which stones you use too. Like there's some good model railway mixes for the stones as well. Some of them are mixed with flock and that type of thing as well.
Yeah.
Were you using those? What did happened to those the printed bases that you got a couple months ago? Were you using them as well, or remember the
They're
HA ones?
yeah. They're for my vamps.
Oh, sorry, right. Sorry, I thought that
Yeah.
was the dwarves as well. Yeah,
Nah,
okay.
I was gonna rebase all the vamps because yeah, they were getting a bit. I was trying to go for like a swampy theme with them. And it kind of didn't turn out. It looks alright, but yeah, it didn't quite turn out as swampy as what I wanted. I basically just went like a dark, muddy sort of green and put the clear water sort of that you can paint on just to get like a water effect.
Yeah.
And then basically I just put on like a bit of like muddy, swampy flock. But kind of just didn't turn out. Just it looks a bit weird, like when you look at it. So like if you go swampy, you'd probably almost want like, just a bit more muddy and maybe like not lily pads, but maybe like some reeds and things like that might make it look a little bit more swampy as
Yeah.
such. So I
Yeah.
just figured I'll just do the easy and just go for that cobblestone and maybe just throw some like rubble around and maybe just throw. So it'll be like cobblestone slash a bit like graveyardy as well.
Yeah.
So I'll probably just go with that sort of theme.
Yeah. I mean, in that one you can just go hard on the dry brushing, and yeah, I think it will look pretty good.
Yeah. So probably just not. I'm not one to spend stupid amounts of time painting. If anyone's ever seen my army, it's very very tabletop. Don't look too close.
Like you just tabletop is like it's what you want to at least be seeing on the tabletop, right? Like it's
yeah.
All too often don't get some armies that just don't get much paint on them at all, and then it's just like it really affects how it looks. So that's that's
characters and stuff. I'm happy doing. Like I've spent like a full day on like dwarf character. I'm happy with that because that's kind of like a bit of fun. But I can't sit there for infantry just doing that sort of level. Just yeah, I don't have that much patience. I just get to But anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's you do need a lot of patience to get through it, and I think that's partly what that's part of the barriers to getting into this playing this game at all. Just to an extent, like there's something really taxing about the repetitiveness of having to paint entire regiments compared to like skirmish games where you'd have like 10 or 15 models to paint, and they're all completely different, much more rewarding.
Yeah. Well, I like playing more than painting. Like you get those people, I'm like, I don't mind painting, but I prefer playing. And then there's that just it's a big spectrum of people who just like playing and people who just like painting. And then there's that whole mishmash in between. So there's plenty of people that paint and they don't even play. So it's just It's just sort of,
I'm probably leaning more that way.
Yeah, but you're a good player, so you're sort of like the good painter and good player. So it's one of those things.
Fair enough. Do you want to go through? Shall we chat a bit about Shirecon?
Yeah.
Unless you had something else to talk about in hobby.
No. We'll get straight into it. So I'm not rambling. Shirecon. Oh man, I don't know. I get a bit excited sometimes, but also a bit like nervous and anxious before like having to drive down, and especially when I know I've got to get up early and got to go to sleep, and I got wicked bloody insomnia at the best of times. So I woke up super early on Saturday morning, like 3 o'clock sort of thing, and couldn't get back to sleep.
All right.
Yeah, so I ended up I jumped in the car and drove down little bit
so
early.
you stayed in Newcastle and then you
Yeah,
drove
stayed
down
in
that
Newcastle.
morning.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then it's South Sydney, so it's pretty much 3 hours. So it's a decent drive down. And I think Maddie,
man, that's awful.
Yeah, Maddie wanted us there at I think it was 8:30, but for some reason in my head I thought it was like 8. So I'm like, I'll leave at 5. So just in case.
Yeah.
But I got
much traffic, hopefully.
Nah, there wasn't. Nah, it was pretty decent run. But yeah, I got there around 8, and then I went inside, and I think there was just Matt there, and Scott was helping him set up, maybe one other person. So yeah, I got there bright and early. But when you're real tired, so I'm just like, oh man, this isn't going to go down well. But luckily I sort of perked up a bit. But yeah, having a chat to Matt, like hats off to him. I really, really enjoyed this is probably the most fun I've had. Just the community down there. It was awesome. Everybody I played with was really, really good. Everybody was just relaxed, especially being like a new game. Nobody was being really gamey. So it was fun. Like we were doing like little take backs, and if you forgot something, like it was just all the players were kind of like, it was like, oh, how do you want to play it? Because obviously we're still kind of learning. Are you happy if we don't roll dice? If you just do like minor takebacks? And they're like, yeah, I was going to ask you the same thing. I'm like, oh, sweet. Yeah, so it was kind of like tournament, but friendly in a sort of, and I think a lot of players were kind of like that because it's so new and everybody's sort of all over the shop. So, if you did your magic phase, and at the start you might have forgot to rally, and then you go, oh, I'll go into charges, and then before you start doing your charges, you might be, the other players like, oh, you got to rally. It was like, oh yeah, sorry. So it was like, it was pretty cool like that. So it was like sort of everyone was like helping each other out.
Yeah, you almost need to print off a checklist to make sure you don't forget a spot. Just go every turn, just go through and go, yep, I've done that.
Yeah, it's just because it's so new and stuff's just out of sequence a bit. Everyone's coming from different editions, so yeah, it was good having that, helping each other out, and that happened throughout the games. Like I was helping them, they were helping me, like my opponents. So it was just a good vibe, the whole thing. So yeah, again, hats off to Matt. He did a awesome job, and great group of people down in the Shire. So I'll bring up my.
How many did you end up attending, by the way?
Yeah, so there was 18. So there was 2 other. There was 2 other tournaments on at the same time, so you couldn't pick it like 2 other bloody old world tournaments on the same date that you pick. Yeah. So I think the Combat Company had one, and I think there was one at a Good Games or something like that. So without that, I reckon we easily would have been pushing, well into the 30s. So I'll just open up my pictures. So yeah, my first game, I was playing Scott. Scott was the tournament sort of second in charge. So him and Matt put this all together. So Scott was running a vamp list. So I won't go turn by turn, but we'll just go through like a bit of a rundown of each game, and I'll just quickly run through his list. So for my list, I think I spoke about it last week. I'll quickly go through it, not in too much detail, but basically I was running. My general was the Anvil of Doom. I was running a BSB who had the Stromny Redbeard banner. Oh man, that thing is like that. It's so good. It's the best banner.
Is that the one that gives +1 to everything in
every unit,
like 6 inches? Or something?
Yeah, within his command range. So 12
command
inches.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
wow.
So it's super,
so good.
super handy. So for core, I was running 2 units of warriors. One was 18, one was 19. They were both running. Well, one was running like the battle banner, and the other one was running like battle banner, and I think the terror fear banner as well, because obviously you can't have two of the exact same item. They were all running drilled with hand weapon shield and great weapons, so they could choose what they wanted to do in certain combats. On top of that, I was running a big block. I think it was like 19 longbeards, exactly the same, running drilled and hand weapon, shield, and great weapon. On top of that, I was running 3 units of the I was gonna say Iron Wardens, but they're Iron Drakes with the Iron Warden with the Troll Hammer. Yeah, these guys are like next level. They're like MVPs. Got to take them every time. They ran, so with them, I run the Cinderblast bombs, because if somebody charges you from close range, obviously you can't use your Troll Hammer because it's not quick to fire, but the Cinderblast bombs are. So it's really good for if you get charged by like chaff or something like that, just to give you some extra attacks, because that goes towards obviously your combat resolution. So you just try and get as many, and they've got really good, like he's got the Iron Warden's ballistic skill 5, the other guys are 4, like they're so good. So yeah, 3 units of them. Oh, and they're stubborn as well, so they're good. It's running 2 gyros with the clatter gun, 1 gyro with the steam gun. And then on top of that, I was running 2 bolt throwers and 1 grudge thrower. So I was pretty shooty army and pretty solid core. So yeah, it kind of wasn't very a move, like it stayed pretty static, as in like in combat. Didn't kill a lot, but it took a lot to move them.
Man, the Cinderblast bombs are good, man. Like, D6 plus 1 hits the strength 5, AP1. Yeah, I can see what you mean. That would, that could take a sizable chunk out of a chaff unit very easily.
Yeah, they've only got 18-inch range, so you really only use it for stand and shoot 90% of the time. But yeah, so they, so that was really good. So yeah, my first game, up against Scotty, he was running Vamps. So I'll go through his list as I see it on the board, so hopefully I don't forget anything. So he's running 5 dogs, 20 odd zombies. In his zombie unit, he had a necromancer running the assailant spell. I think it's like 2d6 strength 5 or something like that. I think it was like a level 1. He was running the mortis engine with Tintin ablation or whatever. Sorry, not the mortis engine, the corpse cart. I think he was running like 12 odd ghouls. He had a level 4 necro kitted up with like extra spell, could choose his spells. He had a big block of core of Graveguard. And yeah, you can take them with core because he had his White King or White Lord. He was running a Terrorgeist, and then he was running the Ghoul King on a Terrorgeist, and then up back, what did he have up there? Oh yeah, Fellbats. So yeah, it was pretty punchy army. So yeah, we'll go through how we went. So basically, I was sort of lined up in the middle with all my core, sort of supporting each other, all my war machines at the back, and basically sort of had my Iron Drakes at the side. And obviously my Choppery boys went around the flanks usually. And then I tried to scatter where I could my war machines, just depending on terrain. It's sort of like where I could do it. I find if you put them all together, they tend to be bit of an easier target.
Makes sense.
So turn 1, I've just done a bit of shooting. Did do a hell of a lot. This is so I didn't take pictures of every turn. I just sort of like did it where I could. So what you'll see here, and I'll try and explain to everybody who obviously can't see.
Try to explain it.
Yeah, so he's sort of moved all his infantry up. They were all in the center, and he's just pushed all them forward, obviously with the ghouls at the front. On his left-hand side, or my right-hand side, he's pushed up his Terrorgeist, his Fellbats, and his the Ghoul King on the Terrorgeist. I put quite a lot of wounds onto the Terrorgeist. I think it got down to about 1. And I took the Fellbats. I was quite lucky because I think he had 6 Fellbats, which is quite a lot really because they're 2 wounds apiece. I think I got them down to like 2 or 3. So basically, his this is the other thing I probably mention as well. So his Graveguard were behind a forest, and basically he was concentrating on other spells, so he didn't really get his movement spells up a lot. So I think the way he was trying to run it was like take out a lot of my stuff on the flanks with his 2, the Terrorgeist and the Ghoul King, and then by the time they've done quite a bit of damage, hopefully, he would have his army sort of in close to me. But as you'll see in the next slide, I was able to take out his Terrorgeist. I basically moved. Yeah, so I sort of moved around so I could shoot at his the Ghoul King on the Terrorgeist. So I was pipping away at that, trying to get that out. Probably the biggest issue I had was trying to take wounds off all his other stuff. I was trying to get rid of his Necromancer, so I ended up charging in my Gyrocopter, just trying to impact hits. I tried to do quite a lot of character sniping with my Gyrocopters, funnily enough, taking on like mages and stuff. But yeah, as we'll see as we go through our games, it didn't always work out all that well by just charging in, because obviously you get D3 impact hits, strength 4, and then 2 attacks from the Gyrocopter itself. So in my head, I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'll be able to take out Necromancer, but yeah, it's not.
Can he directly impact hits against the Necromancer, or is it just his unit?
His not in a unit. He was outside of the unit.
Oh, sorry, right, okay.
Yeah, so he was back behind the unit, so I couldn't shoot him. So he had his zombies forward, but there was enough movement in there where I could actually get my Gyrocopter in a charge. So I was able to get that in there, just hoping for a bit of a Hail Mary there. And yeah, so obviously he kept edging forward. I've taken out his Fellbats. And yeah, sorry, I'm going to have to flip all the way back to the very start. So don't mind any of those other pictures, guys. So we'll go for a bit of a fast forward here because this is the only other shot I've got. So what's happened, I wasn't able to take out his White King, sorry, not White King, the Ghoul King on the Terrorgeist from shooting. I think I took a few wounds off. He might have been down to maybe half wounds. I can't quite remember. But he's charged into, so I turned one of my warrior blocks to sort of face. He's charged in there. And basically I've flank charged him with my Iron Wardens because I get obviously the extra resolution from the Stromny Redbeard. And the funny thing is you don't see it in this picture.
Oh, right, because it's one per unit, right?
Per unit.
Nice.
And the next thing I did is I sent the Gyrocopter in there for another another combat res. So I was trying to pop him with combat res. I think I actually did.
That's really cool. Yeah, I like it.
I think I beat him in one possibly, but I wasn't able to pop him before we finished. And you can see his Graveguard. I think he was a little bit hesitant sending his Graveguard forward. And this is a big block of Graveguard, to everyone listening who can't see it. So I was a little bit surprised, but at the same time, he was trying to get through a forest, and you can't march. You need that special spell. So I think he was trying to get other stuff in. You can see that in that picture, because everyone's kind of probably wondering, that's his Necromancer, his general right in the middle. Why didn't kill him there? He actually put on the Ethereal Fly spell, so I couldn't actually kill him anyway. And then he ended up moving just behind that unit of zombies in combat. reading up, because I thought if a unit is in combat, then can you shoot the character? But it only says like a unit. It doesn't mention if it's in combat or not. So I was a bit unsure how you'd play that. So like, as you can see in that picture, the zombies are sort of closest to everybody, which would be the closest unit, but they're in combat. So I thought that might have negated that unit from being able to shield him, if you understand me.
Yeah, right.
But yeah. But anyway, he was ethereal anyway, so would have had a pretty hard time getting rid of him. And he ended up,
indeed.
Yeah, he moved up right behind that unit. So that was pretty much game. Because Scotty was running tournament like 2IC, he was getting quite a lot of rules questions coming his way. So I think we only got to about maybe turn 4. And then that was it. But yeah, no, Scotty, it was an awesome opponent. Really liked this game. It was real fun to play, and sort of just set the mood for the tournament. So yeah, that was sort of where we finished up. As you can see in my dead pile, I don't really have a lot that was dead. And obviously from him, I think I only got like the Terrorgeist. I think I ended up pipping off his Corpse Cart, a Necromancer, and his Velbats. And I think that's about all I got. Oh, and his dogs. So I was able to get, an 11-9. So not a huge win, but yeah, I was able to get a win there.
Yeah. Nice. Did you get any points off the Ghoul King, or did you not get him down far enough to?
Nah, well, I think you got to.
You get 25%, don't you?
Well, I think it's models. I don't know if it's on the guy himself.
Oh, I thought it was off starting wounds as well.
Otherwise, you might have been playing that wrong. Yeah, it could have been, possibly. I don't think I might have got him to 25. Yeah,
it's
I
pretty
can't
hard to
quite
get
remember.
25 anyway. And even then, you only get 25% of the value of it, isn't it, or something?
Yeah. I'm not too sure, but yeah. Anyway, I'll hit the next game up. So this was against Frank.
Yes.
Reviewed his. So for the guys at home that can't see this, and if you weren't there,
my God,
there was method.
Such a tiny army.
There was method in his madness. Absolute method in his madness. So, he's running.
I can't picture this. Yes. Right. Yeah. Maybe go through his list again, because people might not know or remember.
Giant block of bloody sword masters, like almost 30 odd sword masters. He had a mage in there. I think it was a level 4. He had a character of some sort in there as well. He had 20 odd silver helms as core, just one big block. In there, he had another character, obviously mounted with a great weapon. His 2 characters were running great. Actually, they're all running great weapons. So they're actually pretty good, the great weapons on elves. He was running 2 eagles, which were the bane of my existence. Great eagles are actually quite good in this edition. They're actually a bit more punchy than in previous editions, which
I just like they got stat buffs. You mean is that what you mean?
They get like an extra attack, and they get a stomp, I think, as well, possibly. It's at least an extra attack. Yeah, so I think it's 3 attacks because they get a beak attack as well.
Nice.
And because I sent gyros in and stuff, and they didn't perform as well as expected. Anyway, we'll get into that. And he's running in the back right corner, which probably very hard to see. He was running a griffin. So that was his general. So Lord on a griffin, the bane of my existence. So everybody at home, like I was so salty. I just could not kill this thing. Spoiler alert. It's just, this thing was like, it was a cat. He had like 9 lives, I swear. So yeah, basically he was running pretty much straight down the board with his silver helms and his sword masters. he had one great eagle to one flank, and then in the other flank he sort of had a great eagle and his griffin, which he was hiding behind a forest just in case I got sort of turn one, obviously not to get shot. I deployed pretty close to what I had in all my other games, so I sort of went all my core troops together just to support each other. I stuffed up in this game, and I probably this is the problem, because I put my anvil right in the middle. It kind of ends up getting in my way.
Oh,
So,
right.
yeah, that sort of happened in other games as well, because my units, because I run them sort of wide compared to deep, they just, yeah, you can get in each other's way pretty quick. So yeah, I'll go
Where would you
through.
put the anvil otherwise? Like maybe slightly further out on the flank on one side, you mean? Or
Yeah.
how would you
Well,
avoid
probably,
getting in the way?
yeah. Well, maybe on a hill, like where as you can see on the hill, I'm running the grudge thrower. So somewhere up there, just somewhere out of the way. The only reason I keep him forward is because he's only got just for his magic, because obviously he's like similar to level 3 wizard for spells. I need to keep him forward just to have that range, the 24-inch range.
Yeah,
Because if
sure.
you keep him too far back, then a lot of the time you'll find that you'll get other casters staying out of his range, and yeah, it really sort of hampers your ability to dispel. So yeah, I'll go to the next picture. So yeah, is basically what I've done. I had this theory, and it kind of worked out quite well. I basically got my gyrocopter with the steam gun, and I'm like, the perfect target for that is going to be his swordmasters. So I sent that over and kind of just baited him away and just did quite a few flame templates. As you can see, I think he was down a rank after a little bit. I couldn't get rid of these bloody eagles. These eagles are coming forward. I'm shooting them. I'm doing everything I can. they were quite hard to get rid of, because I knew they were going to be really, really important to him, being that he's only got a couple of units. So he really needed these.
Yeah, without
eagles.
the eagles, he's got no chap, no maneuverability, nowhere to
Yeah.
respond. That's
But yeah,
that's super critical.
yeah. So I was trying to focus on them, and I also knew his griffin was going to be really, really critical as well. So I was throwing everything that could possibly get this griffin. I was throwing into him, and then all the other stuff I was trying to obviously take out his other eagles. So yeah, he's basically moved up in the center towards my more maybe to my right. So not focusing on the center of my 3 blocks. He's sort of more facing towards. I had a bit of a gun line off to the side. So he's done that, which was credit to him. Pretty smart move. He's basically sent his griffin and other eagle in that direction as well, so they could support each other. And then yeah, I'm just sort of sitting just to see exactly where he's going to go.
So saying he's going down the flank to your right, and most of your guns are on your left. Is that what you mean? Like,
sorry. So the gun line is off to my right. So you can see there, I've got 2 units of Iron Wardens. He was kind of heading towards
it's your right.
2 bolt throwers. Yeah. So he wasn't gunning straight for my infantry. He was kind of just.
Oh, your blocks is the other side.
Yeah, going off to my flank, which ended up being a bit of a crux in my. Obviously, dwarves aren't very maneuverable, and I did not have the firepower, unfortunately, to take off his griffin, and there was no way I was going to be able to whittle down his block of 20-odd Silverhelms within a couple of turns.
Yeah.
So
how wide does he deploy those Silverhelms? Are they about? Has he done 6 wide or the silver?
2, yeah, 6 or 7. They were quite wide.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we missed a few turns here because we were getting well into it. So basically, he's gone right into, like I said, and just mopped up all my Iron Wardens, Iron Drakes, sorry. He's left the bolt throwers pretty much alone, which is a good idea because obviously the Iron Wardens are where it's at. They've got a lot more firepower. He finally took out my gyrocopter that was flaming him because he just kept charging, and then I kept fleeing. And I think at the end I just forgot I couldn't rally, and then he fled off the board. So he rallied like twice, and then the third time, he basically was off the board. But this is like turn 5 or 6. So as you can see, it's basically that single gyrocopter took that unit out of the entire game.
The Swordmasters, is it?
The Swordmasters, yeah. So the Swordmasters were kept busy by that gyro. So that gyro was definitely MVP over on that side. So what happened is taken out my so off to my right flank, he's taken out my 2 units of Iron Wardens, and then he's sort of hit into. I had 1 unit of Dwarf Warriors between, basically wedged between my my general, which is the I was going to say the runesmith, the what's it called again? The anvil. So this is where the anvil got in the way. So that the anvil was wedged between warrior unit and my longbeards. So the issue I had now was I couldn't support very well when he's gone into my warrior unit, basically because this stupid anvil was in the way. And he's also, basically, as I've moved them around, he also positioned one of his eagles. So I've lost my warrior unit. He ran it down.
What are eagles?
Yeah. Well, yeah, the eagle, which I couldn't bloody get rid of. So what he's done, he's had to. So my units are really, really good at just sticking, but they don't do any really that good at attacking. So the problem I've sort of had, as you can see here, I've not really taken much off his numbers. And he's come basically sent his silver helms in, and each time he's had his griffin to support. So when he took the warriors out, he had the silver helms and the griffin in. They've both overrun, and then they've sort of ended up charging my anvil. And you can see here from this picture, this is obviously after the fact, they're attacking the anvil. The anvil actually stuck around for quite a while. I did get my longbeards into his griffin, and for the life of me, I just could not get through this griffin. Like,
what was the griffin? What was the defensive of the griffin? Like, what ward save did he have?
Oh, it wasn't anything abnormal. It was just like I think it was like a 3-up, maybe 5-up, 5-up. So he had like 5-up regen, 5-up ward.
I had a regen as well. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I just couldn't get through it. So I sent in the longbeards, and I think I sent them in with great weapons. And yeah, it's just I was pipping off a wound here and there, but obviously I just couldn't get through them all. So he's finally, and then these warriors, have, as dwarves do, they've slowly, basically my last unit of warriors have slowly worked their way down. You can see my longbeards there. They fled from combat from the griffin because they lost.
Right.
And then I'll see if I got my last picture here. So yeah, he's popped my the anvil finally. It took him a while actually. So yeah, the anvil had a pretty good go at it.
What was keeping the anvil alive? Was it just the top? Could he not get a wound through, or it's unbreakable, isn't it?
Yeah, it's unbreakable. I think I might have even challenged the anvil with, and then he took it with not the griffin.
You challenged it.
Yeah, well, it's a character. It's a War Machine character.
Right.
It's a bit weird sometimes with those rules how it works because it's a character but a War Machine. So anyway, so he finally popped it.
Wait. So he was in a challenge with the griffin.
No.
It's unbreakable. Was it?
No, he was in a challenge with his. I I think he sent them both in from my memory, and I challenged, and he ended up accepting with the Lord dude on the horse, or the hero on the horse.
Right.
So in the Silver Helm unit, there's a hero there.
He really doesn't derive any benefit from having the Griffin in the combat, right?
No, I think he sent it all in, probably not thinking that I could challenge, but then I did.
Yeah, because once you challenge, you're unbreakable. It doesn't matter how much you win the combat by, as long as you're alive. It doesn't matter.
Exactly, and I'm like, well, it's going to negate a lot of attacks going in. But then when the Longbeards went in, then obviously I was like, oh yeah, I thought I was going to have a good go at taking him out. But anyway, he ended up popping the anvil, and then he's charged, as you can see, into my last warrior block, and my Longbeards rallied, but now they're looking down a face of what 30 odd sword masters.
The huge sword master block just across from them.
If they finally get there. And this was breakpoint, by the way. This scenario.
Yeah, because it's below 25% unit strength of your army or something. Is that right?
Yeah.
We call it. Yeah, right.
And basically, I was still just above breakpoint just before this shot. But then, as you can see here, he sent his Griffin into. I had my unit of Iron Drakes, and again, I did my standard shoot, and he had like 1 wound left, and I couldn't get it, and I was just salty. So bad. I was like, damn it. So he lived with 1 wound left.
How many save rolls did he make? How many wounds did you cause on this Griffin?
It was getting crazy, like it was down to like the ward save that many times, and it was going to die. He just kept like rolling a 5 or a 6, and I'm just like, damn it. But it's a dice game, so these things happen. It's just like it was. Without that, I think it would have been if I could have taken that off early. I think it would have been a lot different game, because, as you know, with the Silver Helms, they charge, but once they charge, and that's out of the way, they kind of don't have a lot of punch. He did have the character in there, but obviously with that Griffin was just giving it so many more attacks. Because then you're getting obviously your stomps. The character's got like 5 or 6 odd attacks, and I think probably 5 actually, 4 or 5 attacks. Sorry. And then the Griffin himself has got like 4 attacks plus the stomp, so that was adding a lot more. And then I think in the end the Longbeard still survived. He actually got in combat right at the end. But yeah, I was able to
with the sword masters. Yeah,
with the sword masters. I think that was the end. I survived. So this is
so that was sort of the end of the game.
Yeah, this is what was left. I've got the Longbeards. I've got my BSB. I've got 2 of my Iron Warden or Iron Drakes left. I've got my 2 bolt throwers, which you just left behind, which was a really smart move from Frank, because they're only worth 50 points. Is like, don't worry about it, sort of thing. It just wasn't worth his time. And then 1 gyrocopter. So that ended up being 5 to 15 in Frank's favor. So hats off to him, because I think it was really smart, because if you don't get any points, because you don't really kill any units. So out of the end, I only got the 2 Great Eagles. That's all I killed. Because his units are so big. So it's one of these things. If you do lose a unit, you lose a hell of a lot of points. But it's
true. Hard to take points off that army, isn't it?
Yeah. You literally have to kill it to a man, those units. Even if they've only got a couple left, you only get 25%. So it's actually, there's, looking at it, you're a bit like, what the hell? But in practice, it actually worked quite well in certain situations. So great opponent, Frank. So that was day 1 over. So this was game 3, day 2. This was against Derek. Derek, this was the best game, I think, like I've had in a long time. Like, Derek is an absolute riot. It was the funnest game, and it was so randomly swingy at different points, which we'll get to. So Derek was running.
Is this Derek Van Sommeren?
Yep.
Oh, right. He was a K-Con too. Yeah, okay, I do.
Yeah.
He was fun to
No,
play. Yep.
yeah, it's funny bloke,
Course.
funny bloke. Him and I think his mate was is it Mick? I think Michael, possibly. Yeah, met them. They're funny guys. So yeah, he was running a giant. He was running a orc chariot, big unit of Black Orcs, and in that he was running BSB with some sort of banner. I can't remember what it was. Might have given like another war or something like that, or a rending banner. He had a choppy Black Orc war boss in there. He's running a unit of Biggins with a level 4. And then basically is running 2 skewers like bolt throwers, running a git launcher, 7, I think it was, spider riders, goblin spider riders, and then he had a goblin boss on a giant spider as well, which was, we'll get into that. This is like, it was a crazy cool little sort of army because like you could just see, you just get these little like goblin characters on giant spiders, and they're just like this fun little character that you can play. And yeah, it was, again, it was just fun, this game. I just did my same sort of deployment. I didn't learn my lesson, but I thought this time I'm at least going to try and move forward a bit to get out of the way of my war machines and my anvil, just not to get stuck up on that. Although I did get stuck up on something else. So we were playing with a feature in the middle, which was the arcane. What was it? Like the arcane, not monolith, something like that. Which gave basically, if you controlled it, I think you had to be within 6 inches. You got to re-roll 1s for casting, and also you got magic resistance 1. So it was pretty good if you got your caster in there, re-rolling 1s on casting. So yeah, that was it. And then if you control the feature, funnily enough, it was only worth 50 points at the end of the game. So it kind of, but that's what the book says. It's sort of, for a secondary, it was a bit strange. Like you think in the book they'd actually give it a few more points if that's what you're playing for, like maybe 200 or 300 points for being an objective.
Yeah, you think it'd be more than 50, even though it gives you a nice buff as well. Maybe they didn't want to overdo it.
Yeah.
A nice magic buff. I don't know. Yeah.
You think it'd sort of be worth actually getting it, but yeah, 50 points.
Yeah.
Not really worth. So anyway, this is the side view. Did we even start yet? I don't think we've started. That's just deployment. Oh yeah. So first spell, miscast. So Derek miscast on his first.
Oh no, double ones. If only he'd been within 6 inches of that monolith, he would have been fine.
Yeah. Oh no. Because I don't think you can, because it's you can't re-roll, I think, a 1 or something because you miscast. I think that's in the rules.
You can't re-roll a miscast. Yeah, fair enough. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I think he got a 6 or something where you put the template over. So yeah, turn. Yeah, I think this is the one. I was having so much fun, I forgot to take pictures. So I'll have to go through what's basically happened.
Yeah, just go through it.
Yeah. So sorry about this. I was having so much fun in this game. It was just so crazy. So basically, he sent his Black Orcs forward and his Biggins forward. His Spider Riders were coming around his right flank, my left. His giant spider was following them as well. I had all my gyrocopters on my left flank.
So it's across from the Spider Riders.
Yeah, because I had more drops than him, so I sort of knew where I wanted to go. So I figured if I could take out all this chaff, then I could get into his war machines. Hopefully, just try and whittle down his Black Orcs, take out his giant, etc. with my shooting. But yeah, we'll get into what happened. So basically, he sent his Spider Rider straight forward into this forest. I vanguarded forward, and I was in a position basically where I could do a sneaky flank charge into his spider riders with one of my gyros. So I was able to get a flank with the impact hits and all that. I was able to break him. He fled. I didn't catch him, but he only had a few spiders left, and I ended up mopping them up. Funnily enough, my other two gyros went for his goblin boss on the giant spider. I was just doing shooting. It took a long time to get this guy. We're just playing sort of like tit for tat, like little games of moving around, bit of a dance. He took out one of my gyros with him, but I was finally able to get him right towards the end of the game. He got really close to one of my gyros, but I was able, because the gyros are skirmishers, I was able to charge into his war machines to actually get away. So as part of that, basically, I had one other gyro that took out the goblin spider riders, and he started mopping up the other bolt throwers and whatnot. So it took, I think, 3 turns, but I was able to get all his war machines out of the way, and his giant spider with the goblin boss and his spider riders, because what he was doing was basically shooting at my anvil, which I think he took off 4 wounds in the first turn of shooting. I was just like, he's got 1 wound left. I'm just like, oh shit. So yeah, so I was a little bit worried. So yeah, he sent his chariot and his giant forward towards I had 3 units, sorry, of the Iron Wardens or Iron Drakes.
Iron Drakes, yeah. This
Yeah.
is the other flank, isn't it? This is the
on the other,
from,
on the right flank.
The gyros and the spider
So
riders,
the guys at home, sorry, that can't hear this. And then basically, I've sort of moved up with my core to sort of meet his advance with his Black Orcs and his Biggins.
Essentially,
Yeah, so I've sort of moved my 3 units forward. Basically, what's happened, I think I'll go... So this is quite a bit far forward. So what's happened, these 3 units were able to stay alive, and they shot off the giant. They shot off his chariot.
Iron Drakes, yep.
Yeah. The Black Orcs absolutely minced 2 of my other units. So this is my last unit. So he's taken out my...
Wow.
Yeah, so I've got 1 unit of warriors.
Where's all your army gone on this photo?
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Central lines are gone.
Yeah. Well, as you can see at the back there, I've got the gyros still. They were floating around and shooting and being annoying. So yeah, he's basically taken out. The Black Orcs went into 1 unit of warriors. He took that out. My Longbeards went into his Biggins, and basically he was able to, I think he sent his Black Orcs. So yeah, they both broke. I think he ran down my warriors. My Longbeards were able to get away, but then he got into them with his Black Orc unit, and basically ended up taking them out. So I've gone for the Hail Mary, and I wasn't too sure because this was like the very last turn, and I sent my warriors in. I did drilled, used that. I went long, and I think I went in with great weapons. Actually, this went over 2 turns, I think it was. Sorry, not 1 turn. Oh, and you can see that he did end up taking out my anvil. So
the anvil's gone. Oh my god,
anvil's there too. Yeah, so that was gone.
What took out that last wound?
Oh, it could have been his magic. I think he had his
magic?
he was throwing magic missiles at it. So this was where it was getting crazy. So basically, I didn't attack his war boss. I didn't bother attacking his BSB. I just went straight for the unit, just trying to get combat res.
With the Longbeards.
With the Longbeards. Yep. And I think I get the unit, or he might have had one guy left. But I took him pretty much almost to the man for the unit, and this is where this gets crazy. So I broke the unit. I was able to get him down to, I think he was like -1 on his roll or something like that when he took his break test, and then he rolled like, I think it was like an 11 and an 11 or something like that, and he broke.
Oh, it's
And
a
I'm just, this
BSB,
is,
right? Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
So
Oh my
it had
god.
one guy in the unit, so he had his champ left, he had his BSB, and he had his biggin war boss left. So
Oh
that was
my
quite a lot of
god.
points just in that unit. So I was
Yep.
able to break it. As you can see, this is all I had left from my guys. I had like 10 odd dwarf warriors. He rolled, what was that, a 5. I pursued, and I rolled
Yeah.
snake eyes,
You rolled
as you can
snake
see.
eyes.
And I'm just like,
Oh, in
damn
classic
it,
dwarf fashion.
damn
Can't
it. I
chase
was
anything.
so pissed off. Because I'm like, oh, if I get that, then obviously that was going to
That is
bump us
so
up.
many points.
Yeah, that would have been so many points. So I only got, well, the funny thing was this was the very last turn,
Shit. This is the
and
last turn.
they were still fleeing. So I got 50% of the unit.
Okay, you got 50% of the unit at least.
Even though it was down, because I just said, oh, just go the 50% because it's down. Like,
Yes.
what do you get?
Is it not additive to the 25? Is it?
I just said we'll just go 50. I didn't want to start. We're having too much fun. Like, it was such a good game. We were just laugh. Like, this entire thing was just like,
That's an
hysterical.
incredible finish. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I obviously got 50% for his BSB and his general.
Yeah,
But
the
unfortunately, yeah, if I killed him, then I would have got those other bonuses as well.
Mm.
And then you can see there wasn't much left of his biggins because I just kept shooting them. So they were slowly whittling down. So yeah, at the end, it ended up being a draw, funnily enough.
A draw. Oh my
yeah.
god. How is
So I
this
was
a draw?
lucky.
That's such a bloodbath, this game.
Yeah,
It's the complete opposite extreme to your vampire counts
just
game.
some of,
Everything
the other.
died.
Yeah. It literally was. There's like,
And
how
then
many
it's still a
bottles?
draw.
Like 10, 11, 12, 13. He's got 14
Who-
bottles left. No, I wouldn't have had too much different.
Who claimed the all important 50-point central objective at the end? Did anyone? Doesn't look like there's anyone near it.
Nah, I think it might have been contested, or possibly I might have got the points because I was closer. I forget. I think we asked Matt, but I forget what we ended up doing. But yeah. Anyway, that was that game. So that was bucket of fun.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah. No, it was really good. And then this was my last game. So this was up against Adam running Beastman Army. So I had a few more shots here, thank God. After the last one, I was just like, I was kicking myself because it was like, oh no, it's like right at the end of the game and I hadn't taken any photos. It was like, oh, Josh is going to kill me. Anyway.
What?
No.
So I'm the worst at taking photos, man.
Yeah. No.
5 in total from Uprising.
Yeah. Gomo's so organized because he's got like his alarm set. But anyway, we'll get into it.
We just get into the flow of playing games, and we just
yeah
to take any
just
photos.
Get too excited. So Adam, another great guy to play against. So it's really chilled. I was glad I was playing with all these guys because they seem to be very rules first. I get quite muddled between my editions sometimes. So in the speed of things, it was just good that, between the two of us, we're always able to get some rules nutted out. So yeah, he was running Beastman. It looked really scary, and I thought I was going to get absolutely smashed. But yeah, it turned out a bit better than expected.
You're finally coming against Beastman Army. Yeah. It was going to happen at some point. There was 4 of them in there.
No, absolutely nothing against Beastman. About
you hadn't looked them up at all anyway.
Nah, I did. I should have. But
got to do your homework.
Yeah.
So
I deployed in my classic way, as you can see, like literally almost deployed exactly the same in every single game.
Yes, with the anvil right in the middle of your lines every single time.
Yeah. But I was just trying to be a bit smarter, but obviously, I I'm very forgetful. So he was running. I'll start down with his right. He was running in the center. Everything was literally in his center, and he was basically trying to throw everything he could in front of my shooting, just to preserve his good units. So that's why you can see everything so close there. So starting off down his right, I wouldn't even call it his flank because his whole army was concentrated within a foot and a half. So basically, he was running his, I think it was a Gore chariot. To the left of that, he had dogs, just screening trolls that were directly behind.
Oh, directly behind them. Oh, I see.
Yep.
Sure.
He was running a big unit of Gores, not the great Gores, not like ungores, but I think just the normal Gores. He had I think he had like a Doom Bull or something in there that was kitted out with lots of killy goodness.
Sure.
So the Doom Bull, he was really, really good. And then behind him, he was running a unit of skirmishing Gores. And in that unit, he had his, I think it was like a level 4. And trailing off to the side, he had another, I think it was like a level 2 wizard.
Yep.
He had, I don't know what his name is, the Dragon Ogre, Lord Boss guy, Scar, something starts with S, I think. Whatever the character is, the Dragon Ogre character, I'm sure somebody out there will let us know. And then he had 4 Dragon Ogres in a single unit. In front of them were dogs screening the Dragon Ogres, and then continuing along the line, he had another chariot. In front of all this, he was running harpies, I think they are. Just as obviously trying to hunt down my war machines. So yeah, deployed with a lot of stuff. So all his dogs and his harpies were kind of screening off everything. So it was going to be hard for me to try and shoot off his characters and whatnot from the start. Shagos? Yeah. So turn 1. Everybody, I swear, got turn 1. I think I got it like once. Just because my army, I've got so many units. Basically, I always end up, they get the +1, and I just didn't roll too well.
Yeah, but that means you get to deploy around them as well. So it's like,
yeah. Well, that's it. Like I do like, yeah, exactly. There's benefits to both. So as you can see, he's moved forward extremely aggressively, as you can imagine.
Yeah,
his
whole army's just ran at you.
Yeah.
You could have had that anvil right at the back edge, and it'd be fine. Still be within 2 foot of everything.
So he wants to get in combat. I've sort of taken my 2 gyros off to the side of his flanks. I took 1 gyro directly over. Probably the wrong gyro for it. Yeah, but that was the one with the steam gun. So it probably wasn't that well equipped because that is his one of his casters. One of his I don't know what they are. The Gore Shaman or whatever they are. But yeah, definitely the wrong gyro because you can't shoot that well with a steam gun because you only get 1 hit. So I've started shooting here. Oh no. All right, I'll go back because the next shot's well in advance. So basically, I shot off his dogs in front of his Dragon Ogres on his left flank. I think
Drakes.
Yeah, with my Iron Drakes. I shot off most of his harpies down on his right, and I shot off before he got to me quite a few of his harpies on his left. And I think I took out a few dogs, but not too many. The good thing about the dogs is they were almost kind of in his way a bit towards the end. Because with screeners, like, yeah, they're all good, but if they're not fast cav, they're kind of hard to get out of the way sometimes.
Yeah, they can definitely pick you up.
Yeah. So anyway, everything's running at me. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a quick game. But yeah, kind of got a little bit lucky with a few things. So what I did do, so this is quite well in advance. I was able to shoot off Shaggoth.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I got rid of him.
Iron Drakes.
Yeah, with my
Doing some good
Iron
work
Drakes.
there.
Yeah, just strength 8. D3 wounds. They just, if you roll half decent, they go well. Because he just doesn't have those layer of saves, which obviously.
Because he's got 6 wounds, but he doesn't really have any. Yeah, he doesn't have regen or any ward.
Yeah. It's those save layers that get you.
2 armored, hard, and light armor. So he'd have a 4 up armor save that he'd lose pretty much.
Yeah.
And then you sort of get 6 wounds through. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, man, if he gets in combat, I'm in a lot of trouble.
It's hectic.
Yeah. So as you can see here, I'm still. He was shooting at my gyro. I set my gyro into his. Oh, was it this one? It might be the next one actually. But he goes into combat basically.
Shaman?
I sent into the shaman, yeah, and he actually loses combat.
What? Against the shaman?
Yeah, because his toughness
How?
4. So it's D3 impact hits, and then you end up getting like 1 or 2 impact hits, and then you don't wound, and then I think he's got a great weapon or something, so he can choose between.
Oh, he had a great weapon.
Yeah. Just if you don't roll well on the impact hits, like you got to go against like toughness 3 guys, otherwise they're not. They're not very good in combat. If you had 2 of them go in, I reckon it'd go alright.
Yeah.
But they're not built for combat. But I keep in my head, I'm like, because sometimes they do alright. You send them into like a toughness 3 mage, and kills them like in one go. So anyway,
brace staff. Yeah, okay, brace staff. You can use it as a great weapon. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So he's come forward. This is actually a few turns after he's actually charged into me. So what he's done. Basically,
he's just ran at you, hasn't he? Like, everything is on your side of the table now.
It's all on my side of the table. But funnily enough, I actually won quite a few combats here. So his Dragon Ogres went into actually they're not. I don't think they're actually in combat just yet. They're going into my dwarves. I think I might have lost a few there, so they're just about to charge in.
Did you manage to shoot him at the Dragon Ogres as well, or did you concentrate everything on the Shaggoth and you didn't have much left over to shoot at the?
Yeah, well, I took Shaggoth out, and then basically I think I took 2 wounds off one of the Dragon Ogres. As you can see, I probably wasn't that smart, so I moved all the trees off the forest, and me being not the smartest bloke in the world, kind of forgot that the forest was a forest. So as you can see, I've got a top bolt thrower there that can't see anything because the forest is in the way. So
so
he wasn't. So he stopped shooting pretty quick just because the army ran across the board and he had nothing to shoot at. The Dragon Ogre is just about to go into the unit on my right of warriors. In the center is Longbeards. He sent in his Gores with his Doom Bull. And then I had another unit of warriors on my left, which is going against. He sent in his trolls, and he also sent in his Gore chariot. That's the other thing. I was able to shoot off. He had another Gore chariot on my right flank on his left, next to the Dragon Ogres. So I was able to get rid of that as well.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So too. Nice.
Yeah. You can see, unfortunately, he was able to get 2 of his harpies on my very left flank. I had a bolt thrower, so he was able to get into that. And for some reason, I moved I wanted to put my Iron Drakes up against this wall to defend it, but by doing so, it's now put them out of a flank charge into these guys where the bolt thrower is, where the harpies are against the bolt thrower.
Yeah.
So I was like,
anymore.
Do I want to turn them around? I'm like, no, I'll send them in because these guys are actually pretty good as a little support unit. As 5, they do get the close order rule because they got So and possibly a flank, obviously, if they can get in. And sometimes they can pip off a wound. So just by throwing them in, a lot of the time you're getting 2 to 3 combat res, and if you're near the Stromny banner, you're going to get 4. So
that's
yeah,
that's a good amount of static combat res. You know,
it is. Yeah, just for that
banner.
little unit. And especially if you get guys charging into you and you're doing a couple of wounds beforehand, like you're getting like really good combat res. So anyway, I'm waffling on here. Basically, funnily enough, I was able with my Longbeards. I didn't again attack his big scary guy, which in this case was his Doom Bull. I was attacking his Gauze, which was giving me the combat res. I kept going shields as well, basically just to stop me getting wounds. Because if you take, this is the problem with dwarves. A lot of the time you're not charging. If you do charge, usually they do go great weapons. But if somebody's charging you, and you take great weapons, most of the time they're killing your front rank anyway, so you're not really getting the benefit of it. So
absolutely.
I usually take the shields and try and let the combat res do what it does. And in this
I think
case,
it's the right approach.
Yeah. And this case it worked. So I actually started pushing back his big unit, his Gauze with his Doom Bull in it. To his credit, he did fluff a few rolls with his Doom Bull, which is probably the thing you don't want to fluff. I'll see what the next picture is. That's the same sort of picture. Oh yeah, sorry, his dogs did survive. One of his unit of dogs, you can see them running away over on one of these flanks. That's pretty much the same picture. So this is towards the end. So what's happened basically is on my right flank, my warriors fled. He overran into my anvil, but he only just touched it with one dragon ogre, which worked out really well for me.
Right, so you just clicked it.
Yeah, and I was able to charge my a unit of Iron Wardens into his flank. So that went down not too bad. I ended up taking out one of his dragon ogres. I think it was this turn. As you can see, my Longbeards are still chipping away at his Gore unit. I've actually charged in the back of him with one of his with my gyrocopter just to try and get some static combat res again. I think I fluffed on this, but he did on my left flank take out my warriors, so he finally ended up killing that unit, overran, catched it. So yeah, I'm down a unit of warriors. But yeah, I didn't actually lose a hell of a lot. And is this? Oh yeah, so we had a Gore unit as well. The skirmishing Gore unit was just running around the back with his mage. I was trying to get that down under 25% for panic checks, but he just kept passing it. Because his Doom Bull takes, he gets the rank bonus and adds it to his leadership. So he was able to pass these panic checks, which is a bit annoying for me. And that was game. So basically, there wasn't a lot. So funnily enough, we're actually in combat for quite a while. But the only thing I think he killed was, what did he get? He got my unit of warriors, and I think that was it. He didn't actually get a lot. Yeah.
That is a very attritional game. Because he ran at you like in two or three turns. He was in your lines,
and I just pretty much stuck there for most of it.
How many turns did you guys complete?
No, we finished. No, sorry, we got to turn 5.
You got you finished turn 5, or you?
Yeah, finished turn 5.
Yeah, finished turn 5. Okay.
And we couldn't go to turn 6 basically because of obviously it was the last game, so we had presentations and stuff. So if we went to turn 6, I'm guessing he would have got maybe a grudge thrower. Just obviously looking at what we had, he was out of line of sight with his the trolls and the chariot to get my unit of Iron Drakes. I could have reformed before a charge with drilled with these warriors and gone into the
nice. Got into the Dragon Ogres. Yep.
The Dragon Ogres. He was having a hard time getting any wounds off these guys at the moment. And then that probably would have been a bit of a stalemate in the center with my Longbeards versus yeah. So yeah, possibly I might have got a panic off with these guys from shooting, but yeah, it might have changed the game, maybe a bit of a swing one way or the other, but yeah, I'm not convinced it would have been a major swing. But yeah, we ended up taking out a draw as well. Ended up being in his
another draw. So two draws.
Another draw. It was in his favor because he did end up, I think, taking out my BSB finally. So yeah, he was. I was challenging out in the center, my Longbeards, and I was basically. I think I sent my champ against his champ or something like that. And then he killed him, and then his Doom Bull issued a challenge, knowing that basically I had to take it with my BSB. And then I think there was 2 turns or something where my BSB survived against his Doom Bull. And my BSB is pretty naked. He had a 5-up ward, but other than that is. So I was surprised he lasted 2 turns against that bull. The Doom Bull was pretty kitted up. So I got a little bit lucky there. But yeah, all in all, yeah, it was a really good game. Tournament was great. I loved it. So yeah, huge shout out to Matt and Scotty for putting it all together. I had a lot of fun. I think everyone did. Patty came second as well.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, she did really well with her Amazon Wood Elf guys. I was trying to get a picture, but just timing didn't allow it. I sort of forgot, and then I went to get it, and she packed up the army. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. So might be able to get a picture of that later.
Yeah, I saw a work in progress at Uprising, but she still had a fair bit to paint up and get done.
Yeah. So yeah, all in all, what was that?
Or...
Yeah. No, it looked really good.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So.
Wait, so who won the?
Ooh.
Oh, put you on the spot.
No, I got it here actually. It was. Is it? Not Scott. Simon Quad.
Right.
I've heard that name.
Tomb Kings, I think.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah, he's an old name from Aped. He was a player.
I think. I think Gomo knows him. So he did quite well. He got 59. So he had, was it 3 wins and a draw. Paddy got 2 wins and 2 draws, and Jeremy Brody got 3rd.
Right.
And I was down at like 10th or 11th or something. There was like the middle pack was all sort of, as it always is, like a few points between everybody. So
yeah. Well, you've had 3 out of 4 really close games. Even the game you lost was still close. So like there was a couple of swingy things about like if you picked up the Griffin and stuff. Like all those games were close.
Big takeout
if you chase down the Orc unit, that could have massive swing there. What do you say?
Oh yeah, so probably the biggest. Like I learned a lot from this. Like I love the way the army plays. But I'll ditch the war machines. I'll probably ditch the anvil, and I'll just get a few characters because my army's quite like the basic units are really, really sort of chunky, and they take a lot of damage, but they got no damage output, so you're just relying on static combat res. But in this game, it doesn't matter because most of the time you're not breaking and fleeing. You're only pushing them back. So if you're not taking models off the other units, you got a real hard time getting points from them. You just end up being in this stalemate, and most of the time they end up slowly whittling you down rather than the other way.
Right.
So I was just thinking I'll get some choppier sort of characters, defensive choppy characters, because I think dwarves are always good at being defensive. Like it's you may as well take that where you can without going stupid. You don't want to spend lots of point of just but you want get a great.
You're taking it for offensive output, so you don't want to go
Yeah.
too hard on defensiveness.
No, exactly. Yeah. And the good thing about characters is if you do go like in a unit of a 5 or 6 frontage, is basically they can kill your frontage, but unless they kill the character, your character gets to swing back.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll watch this space, but I've been scheming quite hard in the last 24 hours, and I've come up already with a list that I think because the problem with this list, I've been playing Gomo's Tomb King armies, so it's sort of like not tailored towards that, but like you don't think about certain situations.
Natural to tune it to your regular opponents, like not on purpose, but your feedback is this worked well in this game.
Yeah.
I'll swap this around, and that sort of affects your perception, right?
Exactly. 100%.
So yeah, no, that's cool. So yeah, you're in the post-tournament list building zone.
Right, yeah. So I think I had a very good. The only thing I didn't really go up against was a Brett list, which I would have liked just to see how that's going, because that seems to be quite strong at the moment. So I think you're going to see quite a few Bretts getting around. But yeah, no, it's good. Yeah. Great fun.
Yeah, I'm keen to get them out again at some point. I've only had a couple of games, so yeah, they do seem like a fun army to play.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
Speaking of tournaments, did we want to get into our Brutal Deluxe rundown?
Yeah, let's do a little. Yeah, we can look at a couple of lists, hey? Because that's just coming up this weekend. I mean, we're probably going to spend too much time on it. Like, we've already been going for an hour and 3/4, which is decent podcast already.
Yeah. Got Andrew's monotone voice just drolling on about his 4 games.
Droning on about his games.
Everyone's tuned out already.
Good. That was a really good report, actually. Yeah, that was amazing. I was going to talk quickly about a couple of lists. So, because there was a lot of lists to choose from in that new recruit gear. They actually just pulled up the Wood Elf lists because those were interesting, because I found them to be really quite diverse. Like I'm finding different armies of, army lists have got different levels of internal balance, I guess you say. And I find the Brett lists are sort of tending towards a certain archetype, but the Woodies are all over the place, man. Like these 4 lists are quite different. There's 2 that do have a Forest Dragon, so these are the 2 Forest Dragon lists. This one is also running a Treatment Ancients with the Forest Dragon. Laylord is his 2 characters. But he's taken a few units of Dryads, 4 units of Dryads actually, and then a small unit of Glade Guard, small unit of Scouts, a small unit of Glade Riders, and then 2 units of Wild Riders and a Shrikin. And then a Great Eagle down the bottom. Whereas this one, even though it's also a Dragon list, again it's quite different. He hasn't taken the Ancient. He's gone for 2 mages, one level 4, one level 2. He does still have a couple of units of Dryads and a Glade Guard. He's gone for Warhawk Riders and Wild Riders as well, which is
lots of Warhawks.
I do like them as well. I think they're really versatile units. So it's probably a bit squishier, a bit faster than the first list. I do quite like them. The second 2 lists are again really different. This one's got a BSB going, captain on a steed, which I would imagine. Actually, where would he be putting that? Actually, I don't know where he's going to put that. With the Wild Riders, maybe.
Surely.
The BSB? I can't think of anyone else it'd be hiding.
Mm.
He's got level 4, but he's taken a Waystalker and he's got a unit of Way Watchers.
Yeah,
Love it.
that's cool.
He's got a couple of Great Eagles. He's got 2 units
Yep.
of Wild Riders, 2 units of Warhawk Riders, 2 units of War Dancers, and Assistants of the
That's cool.
Thorn, right?
Sisters,
Just 1
nice.
unit of Dryads and but 3 units of 10 Glade Guard too. So you know, these lists will be playing completely differently. You know, this is got a lot more shooting. You know, still quite a lot of speed. Probably squishier again than the other 2 lists as well.
Yeah. Got to get there, but
yeah, absolutely. Finally, the 4th list, again, very different. It's got a Great Lord on an eagle with a Dragon Slaying Sword, 2 Shadow Dancers, each with level 1 battle magic, and cool. then an ancient, a level 4 ancient, in the list as well. So he's taking you know, pretty heavy characters. He's got 2 units of War Dancers, 8 War Dancers to go with it. So I'd imagine each Shadow Dancer goes into one of those units. He's got a unit of Treekin, 2 units of 7 Glade Guard. Oh no, wait, hold on. Yeah, 2 units of 7 Glade Guard and 3 units of 8 Glade Guard. The way this pairs by the way, is slightly confusing.
It is.
So he's got 5
units.
Small units of Glade Guard, and then 2 units of Deepwood Scouts as well. So crap load of shooting. I love the Shadow Dancers. Like, it's again, like, there's all these different hero archetypes in Wood Elves. They're all so diverse, but it looks like everyone's sort of taking them, you know, at this point, almost just to see what happens a little bit. You know, like, I don't think there's a clear line about which one's like clearly the best one or anything like that at this point. I think
I was gonna say, I'm guessing that's a bit of a gun line, that sort of list.
I think this one's got a lot of VS shooting.
You probably have like a few of those like the War Dancers sort of sitting back. I can't see the War Dancers just charging off by themselves.
No, they need support, at least from the Treekin, and then you need to be whittling down with the shooting before they engage.
And then
and I'd imagine the Lord on the Eagle, you know, he's going to be really fast, 360-degree line of sight, just like the Royal Peg. I think he'll either be getting the back line or he'll just be trying to hunt dragons. I'm not sure how good he'll be at that necessarily, because he only has 4 attacks. Oh no, 5. Does he get 5 with the Helm of the Hunt? He might get extra attack with that. But you're still, you know, you're only got to hit with so many, and then you got to roll a 6, and then you got to get reward. So I feel like he's probably going to struggle to do that job necessarily, but he'll still be a threat. And, you know, because I think that's part of the problem with Wood Elves, is that they are going to struggle a little bit to take down those really nasty monsters. I mean, what army doesn't really? But I guess the thing is you've got enough small units. Well, most of these lists do, that you can at least try to distract things and make things hard to shut down. Because a lot of these lists are really MSU lists. You know, they're all multiple units of 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. And there's lots of them. But I just love that, you know, almost every unit, except for Eternal Guard and Wildwood Rangers, I suppose, so the bigger blocks of infantry. All the small skirmisher units and all your little shooting units, they're all making an appearance, which I do quite like. I love
Wood Elves. I wanted to do Wood Elves. I don't know. It was weird. So when I got Kieran to paint up my High Elves, I was going to get him to do Wood Elves, and he just did Wood Elves, and he was just over him. And I'm like, oh, okay, do High Elves. Because I ended up getting rid of the Wood Elves. I can't, you know, I've got too many armies, like I said. So yeah, it's a bit frustrating. I prefer Wood Elves. Like that whole, they're grey. They're not good. They're not bad. They're just that, you know.
They're good now. They're in Fortress of Fantasy. It's clear. They're no longer grey. It's been retconned.
That's it. They're a whitey grey. They're a light grey. There you go.
No, I agree. I much preferred it when they were grey. I think that's a really much more interesting type of archetype than not being binary about it. Yeah, I like that they were mysterious and you didn't really know what their intentions were, or when you came in the forest, they'd kill you.
The lore of high elves is like they're just a bunch of, sort of pansies in a sense. Like, no, not pansies, but like they're just, I don't know. They're a bunch of.
You're the one who has an army of them.
I do. But then you start reading the lore, and it's like I don't really like these guys. Like they're just like very self-centered. I think that's the whole thing with elves is like they're just they get it's just about, I suppose, like excess and indulgence, I suppose, in a sense, and like just vying for power, and they're a bit backstabby in a way.
They're all like that, aren't they? All the elves, arrogant, think they're the worst.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, just for
internally completely deceitful.
Yeah, which is why I always have this big downfall,
which is great. yeah.
But anyway,
did you have any lists here to touch on?
I'll throw mine. Hang on, let me just throw that on the screen. StreamYard at the stage. But
oh, there we go.
There we go. Can you see that? Yep, cool. So I was just going to go through just two. So this is Tony's dwarves. There's a couple of dwarf lists. I like this one. Just thought it was kind of similar to the concept that I was sort of looking at. So obviously just different loadout than what I'd actually run. But yeah, it's just running just a king. Rune of Parrying is fantastic because it's -1 to hit. So it just makes your king so much more survivable. You don't need to go too carried away with giving him, a huge ward save or this and that. Just -1 to hit when he's already weapon skill 7. It's fantastic. And then just having just a great weapon by itself, they tend to be quite choppy. Just the lords. Any lord with a great weapon tends to be able to do a few wounds. He's just running a BSB. Funnily enough, he doesn't have the fantastic Stromny Redbeard. But anyway, he's just running, obviously, his 20 Dwarf Core, 20 Longbeards, 8 Rangers. I'm not a huge fan of the Rangers. I thought I was going to, but I just don't like the fact that when you move them, obviously, if you're shooting crossbows, you're just getting like -2 to hit.
Yeah, pretty brutal.
Even with the +1 ballistic skill, I hate that about dwarf shooting. That's why I love the Iron Drake so much. It's just, I don't know. I can't see the value in it unless somehow you can just set them up in a way where you don't have to move them. But I don't really
the same
like
points, aren't they? 15 points each. Looking at this list, which is
running 2 gyros with the steam gun, 2 units of iron breakers. So we'll see how that goes.
So it's actually 2 units of 21 iron breakers.
Yep.
Decent.
So yeah. So it's actually, he hasn't gone too. Yeah. This is the thing, because I want to see how this goes. He hasn't actually gone too full on with like magic banners or anything like that. He's like literally, here's 4 big blocks, and he's just going to sort of throw it into the fray. No war machines at all. No magic defense.
Rune of Parrying is the only rune in the whole army.
And then is a man close to my heart. So obviously with his 3 Iron Drake units. Running Troll Hammer. No cinders. Nah. Well, it's 15 points. It's one of those things. You can't only use it maybe, I think I used it 3 times. So it does come in handy sometimes. Other times it's just one of those things. But yeah, I'd like to actually see how this goes. was intrigued, just without having that sort of magic defense, and just sort of running just stock standard sort of units. So I'll see how he goes. So Tony, I'll be rooting for you, and I'll be watching closely at the results.
I was
Vlad,
going to say this is a 2K tournament. I don't think there's much comp on it either. I think this is just as normal, really. Yeah, go for it. Sorry, go for it.
So Vlad, he's running his Master Necromancer level 4.
He's got 1,000 points in characters on this list. 997 points. Wow.
That's his general. He's running a vampire count, a zombie dragon with, all the good stuff, the ogre blade, crown of the damned, blah 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 blah. So he's going to be pretty choppy dragon. He's running a thrall on a nightmare as well, vampire thrall, and then a white lord also on a steed, which will give him access to Black Knights' core. So all very fast characters, and all going to be giving a lot of strength to his units, mounted units. So he's rolling a unit of Black Knights. What's that? 9 Black Knights. 2 units of direwolves. Just direwolves go right. Bit of chaff. 2 units of zombies. I don't know what they're going to be doing because they're going to be left well behind.
It's probably trying to get to 500 points core.
Yeah. I was a bit surprised with those because I'm like, they're going to be quite slow. So you can give them march, but they're still going to be left behind. And you got to roll for that, obviously, that spell. So I'll be interested to see how he's going to play those zombies. And then a nice big unit of 8 blood knights. So the fact that you can bring back 4 knights at a time makes these blood knights pretty good. So I mean, looking at this is rolling what a dragon, 3 mounted characters, and 2 mounted units. So it's
the blood knights. That's that single unit is almost 500 points with all the extra little bits and pieces in there.
All the bits and pieces. Charm
Shield, Obsidian Lodestone, Drakenhof Banner, Supernatural Horror. Oh my god.
Yeah. So I'm assuming it's just going to be running up like a one flank and just trying to do that. And maybe the zombies is just got the idea of if you can maybe bring them up the middle and maybe try and distract the other flank into going after them for whatever reason. But we'll see how that goes. I just like it because it's fast, so I'll be keen to see how he went. So they're my 2 lists. There was a few other ones. Funnily enough, there's a lot of Wailing Dirge lists getting around. So there's a couple of the other lists I didn't mind. I'll see how they actually go. I wouldn't mind talking to ASB, see if he goes against them. But basically, there was like Necromancer on a Mortis engine who gets a Wailing Dirge, like running double Banshees with their Wailing Dirge, and then running 2 Terrorgeists with their Wailing Dirge. And I'm like, it's just a Scream army. And I'm like, oh, geez.
Wow.
You're going to have like 5 Wailing Dirges. So, could get, especially if you do it on the same units, like you could really start doing some damage. So it'd be interesting to see how they go as well.
Yeah, because as ASB's going, I think he's running an Empire list again, isn't he? Is that right?
Yes.
I saw that. Yeah, I think so.
Sorry if I was going out of screen there as well, because when I had that up, I can't actually see myself. So I'm sorry if I was like, I think
that's fine. I think you were still in screen. That's fine.
I was like, I was kicking back just reading it. I was like, oh, don't even know what I look like. I probably.
That's right. Your thumbnail gets so little that you can't really see it.
Because you kind of forget you're on camera when you don't have yourself on the screen.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh,
I hope
true. I'm not doing anything too embarrassing.
No, scratching yourself.
Picking your nose or something. So
Oh, dear.
anyway,
Right. All right. Shall we? I think that's pretty much all we need to cover, right?
On that note, yes.
Yeah. On that note.
Yep.
Thanks, guys, for listening to another Old World Fanatics episode.
Yeah. Thank you.
If you enjoy our weekly ramblings, we would love a 5-star review on your podcast software of choice. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe buttons and click that bell to be notified of our latest videos. And again, feel free to join our Patreon if you want some behind-the-scenes chatter, and follow us on any of the socials. Just search Old World Fanatics and you'll find us. Right, so until next time, thanks for listening, guys, to another episode of Old World Fanatics. And I'll see you later.
Yep. Ciao.